Hey crew, I've got the key to that 24 Audi RS3. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. No noteworthy changes for 24, so that means up front there is still that wide hexagonal grille in gloss black with what looks like a chain link fence insert. The 4 Audi rings and the RS badges are blacked out with the optional black Optic package. At the corners are functional vents. Above are projector LED headlights with LED DRLs and sequential turn signals. This one is painted in Python yellow metallic, and I love this color. It stands out, it catches the eye, but it's not overwhelming. At the side is a set of 19-inch matte black Y-spoke wheels wrapped in Bridgestone Potenza summer tires, 265 section front and 245 at the rear. So a reverse staggered stance. Within those wheels are red painted RS calipers clamping on vented discs. There's gloss black for the protruding lower sill, door mirrors, window trim, and optionally the roof. The flared body panels give the RS3 a squat, strong stance, and it looks right proportionally to me. At the back are LED taillights with sequential turn signals. There's a gloss black lip spoiler above, and down low the RS gets its own fake honeycombing for the lower bumper, with a black diffuser and 2 large oval blacked out exhaust ports. I think this car looks appropriately pumped up. My question for you though is, does it look like it makes 400 plus horsepower? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this Black Nappa Leather interior with a stitched quilted pattern on the seats. On the doors, hard plastics up high, some aluminum trim with ambient lighting and suede for this insert, injection molding for the armrest, hard plastics down low, a standard Bang & Olufsen sound system, and one-touch up-down windows. Stepping in, do have to duck my head quite a lot to get behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, but there is knee room here. Hard plastics, mesh mat pocket, this is going to wear out quickly. I can slide my feet under the seat, but the thigh support is, well, it's lacking. Headroom is also lacking. Head's pressed uncomfortably against the roof. I can't make it back to that headrest, so it's going to be a thumbs down from me. In the middle, you do get air vents and a basic hot or cold climate control system with 2 USB-C ports there. With the drive shaft hump and the fact that this isn't a very wide vehicle, I wouldn't put an adult in the middle seat. So maybe just bring down the armrest and enjoy the leather topping and 2 cup holders. Let's check out the front next. Door close noise. That's a good solid thud. There's also smart keyless entry for the rear and front doors. The front seats look like proper RS chairs with power adjustments and heating. They're also aluminum accented foot pedals. Here's a little storage cubby, that's neat. And to pop open the trunk, pull on this tab. It does come all the way up, I like that. Inside, there is 8 cubic feet of space. Not a big trunk for not a big car. You can fold down those rear seats 40, 20, 40, but you have to do that from within the vehicle. There's a handle to manually close the trunk lid, and that's done so pretty easily. I gotta talk about the front doors for a sec, because this they moved to injection molding as opposed to hard plastic in the back. That's good, but this is also still hard plastic. Here you have your suede. This is injection molded. This should be in leather. Hard plastics again down low, and then over here we've got your power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. I am glad to see that, with 2 positions of memory for the driver's seat. Oh, and one more thing. There is a manual thigh extender here in this car. Stepping in, closing that door, and tapping the start-stop button once puts us in accessory mode and turns on the digital gauge cluster, which is high res and reconfigurable. Above is a head-up display. There's injection molding on the upper part of the dash. The matte carbon fiber trim is now standard for 24. There's the Quattro badge, and here on the infotainment screen, you've got a responsive system, and it also has haptic feedback, so you know your message has been received. It's also got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Beneath are physical controls for climate, which do cut down on driver distraction as opposed to everything being in the touchscreen. There are other controls beneath, like the drive select, 2 USB-C ports, wireless charging pad, and gloss black trim. You know how I feel about this stuff. It smudges, it scratches, it collects dust. It's not my favorite trim. There's also a volume wheel. Move your finger like that to turn it up or down and seek buttons there. It works decently easy enough. I prefer a volume knob though. This is a flush gear selector. Look at all this hard, scratchy plastic in a very exposed spot. This feels inexcusable in an as-tested $68,000 vehicle. Leatherette tops the console with nice padding, and inside there's not much storage space. Visibility is quite good, and you've got standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Ooh, and not to forget the large power sunroof that is standard. For this price, there are some hits and misses to the interior trim materials. The steering wheel being one of the positives for me, actually. The perforated leather, the thickness of the rim is right, the aluminum paddles on the back. Now let's take the RS3 for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. Vavoom goes the inline 5. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this drive review in the 24 Audi RS3. I'm going to throw on my seatbelt here before selecting my drive mode. Continue. Drive select here with the toggle. That brings up comfort, auto, and dynamic. Before you go into the RS modes, there are two of them. You toggle those on with the button on the steering wheel. Let's begin. Come back. There we go. Let's begin in comfort. And to go in reverse, I can't use my hand on the gear selector. It's too small for that. I'm going to have to use my thumb to press forward. That's fine. It's less satisfying. That brings up a high-res camera system with trajectory lines for the rear view. There's also some parking sensors and a parking assist feature. Not going to do that. I'm going to back on out here after releasing the parking brake. Back on out of here. And we'll begin as per usual with a turning radius test. Lined up on the right-hand side before cranking that wheel. Ooh, that's quite a wide turning circle for a subcompact sedan. So we get with a front drive based all-wheel drive system. Let's listen to the turn signal sound. That can actually get annoying. I don't know why. That signal sound is bothersome to me. What about the world-famous horn test? What do we got? Ooh, that's a loud and proud horn for a small, feisty sedan. But what makes it so feisty, Miles? Well, that would be the turbocharged 2.5-liter inline 5-cylinder that makes 401 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That is routed through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox and sent to all 4 tires. This engine, well, it's a character. It's, viewed this way, it's sort of all we've got left of the Audi R8. We've got half of the R8 motor, kind of. And so it's more exciting than a 4-cylinder, less refined than a 6-cylinder. It dances to the beat of its own drum. Here, in the comfort mode though, and routed through this 7-speed, it can be quite docile. You're not really going to notice the differences, around town at least, between this transverse mounted 5 and a comparably packaged 4-cylinder. They can both do the modest power delivery thing. And helping the smoothness is the fact that this 7-speed dual clutch is very like a torque converter in most situations. Typically DCTs have a sloshiness to them, a clunkiness, especially at low speeds, but as I just experienced there, I didn't even really notice the gear changes. And then as I accelerate away here, I heard it, but I did not feel the shift from second to third. And the buildup of power is quite linear for a turbocharged motor. The comfort drive mode does mean the throttle response isn't overzealous, but you don't have to be patient. The power will build 401 horses, 369 pound-feet. That means you're going to get moving. The ride quality from these adaptive dampers never really lets you forget you're driving a very sporty sedan. I'm moving all over the surface of the road, even on this smooth strip of tarmac here. The imperfections, there is a level of refinement shown to the suspension there because I don't feel the crash of the suspension. It's not overly harsh, even on things like potholes. but you're never really disconnected from the road. And I like that. I like that I'm reminded that I'm driving an RS. I'm not driving an Audi A6. And as I go to the brakes, it's no trouble to modulate that pedal and come up to a smooth stop. I've got nice things to say about the seats as well. The shape is perfect for my body type. The bolster's not being adjustable, but holding me nicely in place snugly without squeezing me too much. I've got headroom for myself at 6 feet. The adjustments of the seat and tilt and telescope of the wheel mean that my driving posture is just ideal. And unlike most Audi seats, the padding is supple enough. It's not as firm as I've encountered in the past. Now, as the speeds have built up here, I'm going to quiet up for a minute and listen to the cabin volume. Now that is typical Audi quality of build and insulation that I'm hearing there. Just the faintest bit of wind noise, the 5-cylinder generating a little low rumble, nothing disruptive. Tire noise isn't bad at all. Hear that passing Chevy Colorado a little bit, but for the most part, this is a very well-insulated cabin noise level. I think it's safe to say I would commute comfortably and happily in the RS3, but the question is whether I would carve the canyons joyfully on the weekends. So when duty calls and you hit the RS button presenting your custom settings and you put your foot to the floor, what happens? Speed! Lots of speed. The 5-cylinder has shown up to the party. Wow! Not just with the force of acceleration too, but with the soundtrack. There's the half of the R8's V10 I've been missing. There's so much character to that noise and so much punch from this powertrain. Good heavens. I fully believe the compact class record at the Nürburgring of 7 minutes and 33 seconds, just obliterating the M2's record around that course. Even in the real world, this is just crazy how aggressively it moves. I've now got to try out manual mode. So you do that just by pulling on one of these aluminum paddles. Not much travel, but a good quality feel to the paddle. And the first and important test is whether it will let me go all the way out to redline. Yes, it does not upshift for me. That's a performance car qualifier. You got to be able to go out to redline on your own. And now, when I pull that paddle, it's a prompt shift up and down. This is a good start. And let's continue the fun with a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up to record here. I'm going to hit the RS button once more to turn traction into sport, hold my foot on the brake, pin the throttle, build up the revs for launch, let go of the brake. For 3.77 seconds to 60. This is the little RS that could. But that Nürburgring record didn't just come from straight line pace. It's also how the RS3 is engineered to handle. Now, I did mention already, this is a front drive biased all-wheel drive system, and so it can only send up to 50% of available torque to the rear tires, but the torque vectoring rear differential can transfer up to 100% of that to either rear wheel, meaning you can overdrive an outside tire. And with the reverse staggered stance, though understeer is theoretically possible, if you just apply a little extra power mid-corner, you can cure that. Or with liftoff to create some rotation. So the handling is just very neutral and very satisfying. And it's really impressive given that a transversely mounted engine with unequal drive shaft lengths can sometimes create a lot of torque steer, but they've just engineered around that. And with the performance dampers firmed up here in the RS drive mode, everything is so flat, so controlled. The brakes are tremendous with their bite. This is a menace, this car. It absolutely inhales curvy roads. And I've actually tracked an RS3 and it blew me away. And this adaptive steering system is praiseworthy too, because at high speeds, it changes the ratio, so less lock is required for more steering results. And Audi resisted the temptation to artificially overweight the rack, so it remains light in its effort required, but it's still quick and direct, with just enough feel to communicate grip. And when you get tired of grip, the RS torque rear function will let you play a little bit. No, the RS3 does not oversteer as smoothly as a rear drive car, but it's still very entertaining. I love this car. Okay, enough with the shenanigans. I need to be a mature adult and talk about adult things like fuel economy. That's 19 mpg in the city, 29 on the highway, and 23 combined. The top speed, not so mature. That's 180 miles per hour. The starting price, that's very adult. It's $63,395. This one is tested, as I mentioned, just under 68 grand. Competitors. Few different ways you can go about that. In the compact sedan class, you've got the Mercedes-AMG CLA 45, that's $66,650. It makes 416 horsepower, a lot of sixes. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, and fuel economy of 23 combined. Then there's the Acura TLX Type S. It's got a manual transmission. It's only $53,000. Makes 320 horsepower, gets to 60 in 5.1 seconds, has a top speed of 167 miles per hour, and fuel economy of 24 mpg. Or if you've got to have that VH, then there's the Lexus IS 500 that's $64,000, makes 472 horsepower, gets to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and struggles by with fuel economy of 19 combined. Here's my take on it. If you want the manual transmission, don't feel bad that you're giving up the extra power compared to the other vehicles, because you're gaining engagement and you're also gaining back like 10 grand. But if you want another category above of performance, it's this RS3 for me, because it would royally stomp the other vehicles on a road course or a canyon road. It looks spicy on the outside, but has a level of refinement to it. It's got good technology. The only real drawbacks are the fact that there's all this really cheap trim in places I don't think should be here for this money, and if you're big, you're not really going to fit well in the rear seats. Which would you guys choose though? Would you have the RS3 like me? Would you get the Acura TLX Type S? Would you have the Mercedes-AMG CLA 45 or the V8 powered Lexus IS 500? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review, and I will see you again next time.